There's nothing like the smell of natural gas in the morning. And if you can smell natural gas in the morning, get out of the house. It means you got a gas leak and you should probably not stay in there. Just saying. Your health and safety tip for the year. Good Wednesday morning. How are you doing? Everything here is great. The winds are changing, it feels like. There's a wind coming in, actually, that's going to be changing the air from about 38, 39 degrees currently to about 54, 55 tomorrow. So that's great. Even though I was very happy with the snow, I finally got to use my snow tires for something. Hello. It's so annoying. I put those things on. I put them on because if I don't put them on, it's going to be the worst winter we've seen since 1978. But I put them on, and that doesn't happen. But we went to have lunch with Matt's aunt, and there was drifting snow that went all over the road. So I felt very accomplished to have my snow tires on. I gotta find it. I get it where I find it. I gotta get it where I find it. I gotta get the I did this for a reason where I can find it, and that was I did that for a reason. So here's our Red Honey, Costa Rica Las Lajas. Las Lajas. Strawberry, orange, peach, green apple. Hooray, deliciousness, wonderful. Strawberry, my recollection, very, very strong. Yes, very, very strong. A very jammy smell. The natural scent of the beans actually creating a kind of like almost peanut butter and jelly feel in my head when I smell the beans. Absolutely amazing beans. We're going to, I need my wooden spoon. There we go. We're going to do it the way I watched it be done. And I meant to upload that video and I haven't yet, and I apologize. It's pretty short, it's about 3 minutes. Maybe 4 minutes of our guide explaining how coffee is done on that plantation, how it's made. And like I said, I'll put that video up. I'll put it up as an added video at some point very soon. It's on the computer. It doesn't take anything to upload the damn thing. I won't have to even edit it or cut it. I can just put it up. So I was going to do it that way, and I was going to do it with this wonderful Costa Rica Las Lajas Red Hunty. Hunty? Red Hunty. I like that. Red Honey. Actually, I do like that. Red Hunty. I gotta remember that. I won't remember it, but I gotta remember it. So the coffee to water ratio when using that coffee, it's 7 grams per 100 milliliters. 100 milliliters equals 100 grams, give or take a couple of either side. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to triple that, 7, 14, 21. We're going to do 21 grams of coffee to 300 milliliters of water. I've gone up to 400 milliliters, but I think today we'll just stick with the 300 just as a, kind of like a safety thing. So I want 21 grams. Oh, it smells so nice. I'm so excited. 21 grams. All right, so I got 23 there, so we'll pull some back. I'm so excited to go back down to New Smyrna to that coffee roaster. I so badly want more of that Peruvian. The walnut flavor that came out of that Peruvian was probably my favorite roasted coffee I have ever had, and still have ever had. As much as I enjoy the coffees I have now, that Peruvian with the walnut kind of flavor, oh, it was just absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to get more. 21 grams of coffee. This is going in here for about 5 or 6 minutes. So we're gonna do it at about a fairly coarse grind. Probably about a 20, what is that? 20, it's probably 28, 29, 30. So we'll do about a 28 right there, grind setting. All right. Such a wonderful smell. It doesn't seem like a lot, but honestly, as much coffee as I put in things, it doesn't take that much coffee. So 21 grams of coffee in there. We're going to pair that up with 300 milliliters or 300 grams of water. We are just about there. Actually, I could probably just do it now. Doesn't need to be outrageously hot. All right, so how he did this was, in order to keep gases from escaping, he used a wooden spoon to trail the water down as to not agitate it too much. I don't want the wooden spoon in there adding weight. Ooh, and this is, just in case you were wondering, really frickin' hot. So I've got my 300 milliliters, so we're gonna do a little bit of a stir. We're gonna agitate it just a little bit, not too much. We've already got a little foam at the top, a little cream at the top. We wanna keep that as minimum as possible. To be honest, with this brewing method, you don't normally get a lot of cream anyway, but I have been shown pouring it from a very high altitude sometimes. So that doesn't help. All right, so we're going to take this, we're going to have it go for about 5 minutes. We're going to do about 5 minutes. And we'll give it a little swirl, and then we'll give it a nice strain, and then we'll have a nice cup of coffee. Are you clean? No. No coffee grounds in you. What has happened? Give you a little bit of a cleaning here. Oh, I know what happened. I brushed off those coffee grounds last week, and I haven't moved this coffee cup since. And so I've got coffee grounds in the cup from where I tried to brush it off into the sink and failed miserably, which is fine. I was reminded this morning about my layoff, just randomly, just one of those random things that happen in your brain. You know, like, you're like, oh, you know what? You were laid off at one point. Oh, great. Thank you, brain. And a lot of people probably don't know this that are tuning in, because I don't know why. I mean, I guess I kind of understand. People want the latest, greatest, freshest, brightest content. But I have an entire year's worth of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays starting last February last year of coffee content, where I started this journey. And I talked about being laid off from my previous job last January in the beginning of the year. And their subsequent coming back 2 months, 3 months later, saying, hey, we made a mistake and we want to rehire you. And the whole thing is just a comedy of errors on their part. It basically kind of started, I mean, you know you're part of a corporation, but you know, when you're in the middle of it and you're doing your work and you're doing your job, it doesn't matter, because you're getting paid and you don't mind the work that you do. You don't love it, you don't hate it, you just don't mind doing it. It's consistent, it's the same thing every day, which that's stability for me. The same thing every day is stability. You take me too far out of my same thing every day, and my father's the same way. You know, there are many people that I know that are this way, to many different degrees. I'm probably more moderate rather than my father being extreme, and you know, some people being a lot less extreme. Maybe just a little anxiety. I get a mid-range of anxiety if you pull me out of something that is basically a routine. I get put into a new situation and I don't outwardly panic, but inside I'm cursing to hell and back. Why did I do this? Why did I do this? Why did I agree to this? Why am I putting myself through this? But you don't really get that. But sometimes you get a free moment of clarity. And that first started, I think, 2 years prior to, maybe 3 years, because I was at that job for about 5.5 years. It may have been 2 or 3 years in where the CEO of the company brought us into a room and gave us a presentation on slides about the hierarchy of our jobs, and that the company are people, that horse shit. And look at all the people, and look at the people above this certain point that contributed to my layoff. At this point, I can look back and see that. But at a point during the presentation, they got to where the people he was presenting to should have been on the chart, and they were not on the chart. We were not on that chart at all. It basically stopped with our departmental managers. And then he even joked about it. Oh, you should have been on this slide. Oh, well, just picture yourself there. And then that was the beginning of the end for me. That was the beginning of understanding that no matter how much effort I put into this job, I get there every day. I get there on time. I complete all of my tasks. I ask if any other task needs to be done. I make sure everybody knows I'm available to help. I go above what I normally do just because that's just who I am. And, you realize that basically doesn't matter. And, it was basically at that point where it's like, well, the CEO doesn't even have the kindness to acknowledge us on his slide presentation they created for us of where we are in the grand scheme of things. And it was off-putting and aggravating. So, that was kind of like where I came back into reality, and it's like, oh, you know what? I don't matter to these folks. Right. I remember now. And then, about a year and a half later, we had our awards banquet where we were all in a room together. Our division was in a room together, the financial part, and we were all sitting there, and the people that were getting these awards were people that basically, and I hate to use the word allow, because they have a choice, but the choice in the moment is not right there in the forefront of their brain. And the forefront of their brain is survival, and they want to keep their job. So they need to do whatever they're asked to do in order to keep that job, because it's their only source of income. And the business knows that. So they can take more from these individuals. And one individual who won an award, their supervisor, and it is just the biggest moment of cluelessness that I have ever seen. They're like, we lost 2 people, one because they retired and the other one because they moved on to another job. You all right? And they decided, hey, we're going to give you all of this work. Their work is not done. You need to do their work. And I don't know if they told them that they were going to rehire somebody to help or replace or anything like that. But at the banquet, I guess they had come to the decision that this person not only was doing 3 times the amount of work that they would normally do fairly well, they decided they weren't going to replace the other 2 people. So this person was stuck doing all of this work. And 3 guesses as to whether they compensated them for that. I don't know personally for sure, but I'm going to bet not. I'm going to bet they did not receive enough compensation to do 3 people's jobs. And then the other person, and again, it's just the amount of cluelessness on the part of the supervisor, said, we're giving her this award because, and to give you an example of her dedication, not only to close a deal did she work after hours and on the weekends and during her time off, she checked in during her vacation, to make sure we got this deal taken care of and that everything was okay. And it's like, that's horrible. That's horrid. That's disgusting. That's somebody's vacation that you owe them for working there for you, and you've taken that away from them. And do you think she was compensated for her time? Do you think she was just, her vacation was given back to her? Or do you think she was given extra money for checking in and because they don't have a backup plan having to do her job while she is trying to enjoy vacation? No, of course they didn't. They laid off a good percentage of their workforce for a knee-jerk reaction. So no, they didn't do that. And then about that layoff, it wasn't about something that was happening. It wasn't something that was sure to happen. It was due to projections of the upcoming year. They saw a potential for declining sales, so their knee-jerk reaction was to let go of a percentage of the workforce. After 2 straight years of unimaginable profit and growth within the company, that particular year they decided they were going to let people go because there might be rough waters ahead. And then it turned out that there wasn't. Because after my layoff, 2 to 3 months later, they called me back saying, and these are words that they used. It was a mistake to have let you go. We need you back desperately. We cannot do the work that you do and complete our own work at the same time. So we are getting a lot of pushback and negativity towards our department from the managers that are around the country because the work is not getting done in a timely manner or properly. So we need you to come back. And, at that point, they'd already put me through hell on earth by letting me go. And to be clear, they were putting me back into hell by making me come up with a decision to rejoin them or not, because the job was easy. The job paid fairly well. It had medical benefits. It had a 401k, and up to about 5.5 years into the job, it was incredibly stable. Until they decided it wasn't. And that was always in the back of my mind. They decided my job was no longer feasible in a knee-jerk reaction. So and I felt that they should pay for that, monetarily. Your words are great, but I want to see some money. I was making about $43K a year at that point after 5.5 years of working there. So I said, you know what? You want me back? Bump me up to 50K. Show me that you made a mistake and that you want to rectify that mistake per your text messages. And they decided that I was not worth that. They gave me what was essentially a raise, bumping me up from like 43 to 45. And then they decided that, and this is the thing that really pissed me off. He is freaking out, man. This is the thing that really got me. They told me that my yearly bonus would get me incredibly close to where I wanted to be at 50K. And I had to explain to them that I've worked for you before, and I know that those bonuses are not only not guaranteed. We were told the past year that we were incredibly fortunate they were allowing us to have bonuses because of what they expected the market to downturn. The bonuses that we potentially could get are not the 100% of the 7% that we were, so it's like 7% of what we made was our bonus. We were not guaranteed 100% of that. And 3, those bonuses are taxed. So I lose half of that bonus to taxes and their terrible 401k program that they used to gamble, and I probably will never see a penny of. So, I mean, there were those I understood their bonus program, which was to their detriment, because I said, I know how this bonus program works. Are you suddenly guaranteeing bonuses? And they said no. And I'm like, well, then that's not feasible. Not only that, bonuses are not income. Bonuses are extra. Bonuses are on top of what you earn per year. They are, and the worst part, and Matt's bonuses are based the same way, which I think is absolute garbage. The worst part is it's not based on what you have done for the company. It's based on what the business does, how much money it makes. And nothing I did for that business had anything to do with how much that business made. My bonus was based on something I had no control over. And every time we had a review, I was reminded that that review has nothing to do with getting a raise, and it has nothing to do with your bonus. It was just a yearly check-in to make sure you're okay. So the review was absolutely meaningless, other than to fill out some paperwork and check some boxes. So, and they reminded me that every time I had a review, this doesn't have anything to do, I mean, you are excelling at everything. You are doing everything we're asking you to, but that really doesn't have anything to do with your raises. There was a year I didn't get a raise. There was a year I got a 2% raise. There was a year I got a 4% raise, but there was never a year where I got what I was worth as a raise. With all of the words that they used to describe me, both during my 5.5 years and during my layoff meeting. So I am very done with corporate. Just so done. The only way I would go back and do another corporate job like that is if we were in dire straits and we really needed money. That's it. I've gone, oh, this is steeped for about 15 minutes. Nice. That's probably a good cup of coffee now. Let's pour it out while I continue to bitch. And yes, there are people that are in worse stead than I am. There are people that are in better stead than I am, and that is just the way the world works. But, for me, in my little world, it's just insane to me that a corporation can feel like they can treat you like that a lot, all the time. I mean, you are family until something potentially might go wrong, and then you are laid off from that family. And what really bothered my psyche, and the reason why it hurt me so much that they did that, was because at the end of the day, nothing I did in those 5.5 years, it didn't matter. 5.5 years. It didn't matter. It's awful. Nothing I did. I could have sat on my laurels, did exactly what I needed to do, not spoken to anybody, not bothered with anybody for 5.5 years. It would have been the same outcome at the end. That's the worst part. Nothing I could do would have fixed that. That's the biggest problem that I have with the whole corporate thing. And, everybody at a certain position should understand that. They feel you have to give them 2 weeks notice in order to leave under good terms. They can fire you the next day for any reason. And they don't have, for no reason. They are under no obligation to do anything for you. There you have it. I guess you don't have to go back and watch those if you don't want to. Even though I'm sure there's more raw emotion at the time, now I'm just numb to it, even though it does aggravate me just a little bit. Okay. Let's get to this coffee. So, this is the Costa... I know, that was a long rant. But people need to be caught up to speed. Why am I doing this? Why do I feel like this is therapy? Well, you just had a big swath of the reason why. I need an outlet for all of this pent-up frustration with regards to jobs. Jobs are terrible. It was the second time I was laid off. The first time was my dream job, the job that I had for nearly 10 years when I worked in radio. I was laid off because 2008 happened and it was a giant recession, and again, they were freaking out. It's just corporate people freaking out that they're not going to get paid. The board, the company that owns the place, that they're afraid they're not going to get paid. So everybody that makes the thing work has to go. And good luck with the general manager of a radio station knowing how the radio station works. Because let me tell you something. The general manager of the radio station where I worked, maybe he could take a sales call, but he had no idea how to write a promo. He had no idea how to write a commercial. He had no idea to record a commercial. He had no idea how to run a board. He had no idea how to be a radio DJ. He had no idea how to conduct an interview. He had no idea. Maybe he can make a sales call, but that is it. He was a salesman. That was it. That's the general manager of the radio station, was a salesman. And yeah, so good luck. And, I think they're doing all right, I guess. I mean, it's been almost 15 years since I worked in radio. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So this is the second time I was laid off. It didn't hurt any more or less. It was about the same amount of pain, and aggravation. Yeah. And I cried when I got home that day. I took everything out of my box. I went to our apartment. I looked Matt in the eye and I said, I got laid off, and it was my dream job. It was the job that I'd wanted. It's the job that I went to college for. It's the job that I had for 10 years, come hell, high water, being tortured, being beaten up, being put upon. It didn't matter, because I could go into a room, shut the door, and create something magical that everybody loved. So, and that was the point. It was that was the point. The pain and the mental anguish that I went through oftentimes was worth that end goal, and doing that in a professional environment. And not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people have done that. So I'm very proud of that time of my life. Regardless, I'm very proud of that time of my life. I'm proud of the work I did for my last job. They had nothing but compliments. They laid me off, but that's their fault. That's not my fault. I did everything I could. And then they called me back, and they did not make it worth my time and effort. So I said no. But I am incredibly fortunate. I am incredibly fortunate and privileged that my husband has a job where I can do this silliness without having to worry about getting paid for it. It would be nice if I got paid for it, but he makes enough to where we can both survive and live and thrive. It's not just about survival. It's about living and thriving. We're in a first world country. We shouldn't have to worry about surviving. We should just have to worry about living. And I wish more people understood that, so we could support folks that need to stop just surviving and can start thriving. Anyway, that part of the part of the therapy is now over. Let us get into the coffee. So this is the Costa Rica Las Lajas red honey that I found and bought a long time ago. I will link their website again, and the wonderful process that is honey processed coffee, the red honey processed coffee. It is an absolute delight in both smell, flavor, and texture. That was the right amount of coffee to keep it brown, not make it black, to keep it brown. The flavor is excellent. There's a definite strawberry presence. You get a little bit of the acidity from the green apple, from a green apple flavor, kind of. Peach is a very subtle flavor. There is a little bit of orange in there, but it's primarily strawberry mixed with a little bit of sourness from a medium to light roast coffee. And it just tastes so good, and it's always over too fast. Look, I've already drank that much. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for putting up with me. I hope that the rehash helps some people understand why I started this journey. It's about discovery. It's about therapy. It's about feeling better, and it shouldn't be selfish to want to make yourself feel better, especially when your want is to not only feel better, but to entertain other people. And through that entertainment comes your own therapy. Through showing other people who you are, by being vulnerable, by being out there, by being available, you can show other people that it's okay to be upset about something. Don't hold it in. Be upset. Be angry. Sometimes, don't overdo it. I don't know. Your variable of overdoing it is different than my variable of overdoing it. So your limits, but don't be afraid to be upset. Don't be afraid to make a cup of coffee. Don't be afraid to take the extra time if you can to make a nice cup of coffee. And then sit back and enjoy it. I highly recommend this Costa Rica Las Lajas Red Honey from Bean & Bean. It's a mother and daughter Q grader duo. I gotta take my glasses off real quick. Mother-daughter Q grader duo, roasted in New York. But these beans are from Costa Rica. So I'll try to remind myself tomorrow. I'll tell you the story that the person who took us on the tour of the coffee farm. I'll tell you the story. There's a lot of different stories about how coffee came to be and about the travels of the people across those mountains from Colombia to get to ports in order to export their coffee. It's very interesting. I will share that tomorrow. Until then, I hope you have a great Wednesday. I hope you have a great start to your Thursday, and we will see you mid-Thursday, maybe around 1:30, 2 o'clock, depending on how YouTube wants to upload this. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. I hope you have a great day. Try to have a great day. Do the best that you can. I believe in you. Bye.